Good morning. Let's talk about the main difference between gig work and full employment. This is especially relevant information as we head deeper into this recession, which anyone who isn't rich already knows we're in a recession. I know you're seeing the news that a lot of people who have been laid off are now pivoting into gig economy, gig workers. And I think it's really important for people to understand what the trade-off is when you switch from working for a company to working for yourself in the gig economy. First off, let's get clear on what gig work is. A lot of people think it's just doing stuff like DoorDash or Instacart or any other app-based task that people pay you to do. But in reality, a lot of people are working in the gig economy right now who don't consider themselves gig workers. If you are someone who is an independent contractor or freelancer working on project-based short-term assignments, whether it's a couple of weeks or a day, like you fill in for somebody at a bar on a swing shift, that business isn't providing you with benefits, you're part of the gig economy. If you would have asked me a few years ago what the main difference was between gig work and full employment, I would have told you peace of mind. When you are employed by a business or a nonprofit, it usually means you can rely on a consistent paycheck, benefits, maybe even a career path towards executive leadership. It's not like that anymore. In reality, for certain populations, job security has never existed, but that certainly these days applies to pretty much literally everyone unless you're already wealthy and a white man. The difference today between gig work and full-time employment is honestly tied to how you file your taxes and how you manage your time. An employer would do things like contribute to your payroll taxes, Social Security, etc. Now all that stuff falls on you. These days, in some ways, gig workers have more, air quotes, job security than people who work for companies or nonprofits. Because at least when you're a gig worker, you can have multiple sources of income. And so when one source dries up, you can bounce from one to the other literally in the same day. There's certainly a lot of benefits on paper to being employed by a company and the consistency that comes from a regular paycheck. But don't get it twisted. Even if you are employed somewhere, you're not above gig workers. Everybody right now who isn't already wealthy, doesn't have a safety net with family, doesn't have investments or owns property, is fucked. And with more and more people pivoting into gig economy work, we're seeing an oversaturation in markets. People who work gig jobs already know this to be true. There are less gigs for everybody. This situation wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for our greedy capitalist government. There are more than enough resources for all. People shouldn't have to have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different side hustles just to survive, just to have housing. People shouldn't have to be scared to go to work every day wondering if they're going to be in the next wave of layoffs. Something has to change. For now, remember, empires rise and fall. We the people have strength. We'll get through this like we always do. We have to stick together, practice mutual aid, and stay vigilant about being informed and sharing knowledge. Peace.